for your YouTube channel are really going to determine whether or not they're successful or not. If you neglect them altogether, then you're really setting your videos and your YouTube channel up for failure. So these are two things that are really critical in order to get the most opportunities with your videos in regards to reach, views, average view duration, how long someone's going to watch your video, and then ultimately getting someone to subscribe and help them in whatever way that you're going to. So I'm going to talk about those two things, but I'm going to start with number three because it's really important as well. It's something, these three things together, it's called the packaging for your YouTube videos, are really critical for all of your videos, including your YouTube shorts. So regardless of what types of videos you're starting, even with your YouTube lives, this is really important. And you'll hear a lot of YouTubers talking about this as well. But so the third thing that you need to know about is your hook. So that is the first 10 to 15 seconds of your long form video. What you say in that first part of your video is going to determine whether or not someone continues watching your video. So they've already decided to watch it, right? So now it's up to you to deliver on what you promised that you were going to be talking about. If you do, and that first 10 to 15 seconds is interesting enough, then they will continue watching. The chances of them continuing to watch your video are a lot higher. So that is number three. So let's go to number two, which is your title. The title of your video is really critical. You have to look at how are you going to get intrigue while also incorporating keywords that your target audience is going to be typing in or searching for you on YouTube or Google. When you look at your video titles from that perspective, then you're going to increase the likelihood of your videos getting reach and really tapping into the SEO component of your videos and being part of the YouTube ecosystem. And that's really the biggest part of really getting your video into the hands or into the screens of more people that need to see and hear what you have to share. So your titles are something that you can research on YouTube. So you can just, type whatever title or keywords that you're wanting to create a video on and just search through the search results. I always look at the last 12 months. So there's a filter feature after you've done your search, and you can filter in for like the last 12 months. And that's going to help you identify those videos that are performing really well and what those channels are that you can go and take a look at as well. So when you do that, you're going to get a really good understanding of, for those keywords and what you typed in the search bar for, that particular title, it's going to give you insights as to whether or not it's going to be a really good title to consider. And when you look at just the titles and you're scrolling through the YouTube search results, you can also see who the creator is or that YouTube channel name. And when you can see how many subscribers they have compared to the number of views that video has had, if the number of views is significantly higher than the number of subscribers that they have, that's a really good video title to click on. Pay attention to the thumbnail, look at the title structure, what keywords they have in there. Use ChatGPT if you need to reword it, and then create your video accordingly with that. If you're joining me live, I would love to hear or see you drop a hi and where you're joining me from in the chat. And if you have questions, please drop them in the chat as well. Would love to know who's joining me live today. And if you're watching the replay, let me know that as well. Hashtag replay in the comments. And if you have any questions, let me know that as well. So when you're searching in the search results on YouTube for the titles, which is one of the two most important things that you need for your video, that's going to give you really good insight as to what videos are performing well, which ones aren't. So you can also, like I mentioned, number three is the hook. When you click on that title and watch that video, then pay really close attention to what that creator is saying in the first 10 to 15 seconds. It might take 30 seconds for them to get through the hook, like what that video is going to be about. But what you're looking for there and listening for is, what are they saying and does it align with what their title was? Essentially, are they following through with what they said the video was going to be about? And if so, that is part of the equation. One of the three things that are really critical for your videos in order to have them perform really well on YouTube and then, of course, in Google search. So that was number two, which is your titles. The first thing, which is most important, and it's one of the things that a lot of creators still struggle with, including myself, including some of the most, top YouTubers, including like Mr. Beast, those creators who have millions of subscribers and they've been doing this for years, actually pay tens and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars for creators or designers to create thumbnails. Your thumbnails is the number one piece of, I want to say, real estate. It's the number one piece of your YouTube packaging, video packaging. It's really critical because if you look at your video creation process from an end user perspective, and you yourself are on YouTube as well, you're watching videos, so pay attention to your habits as well when you search for information. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at it from your perspective, the way that you're searching for information and deciding on what videos to click on and watch is very similar to how your target audience is going to be searching and determining what videos to click on as well. And how that is when you type in a search and you're like, oh, hey, here are the search results, and you find a video that's really interesting. Notice what you pay attention to first. It's usually the thumbnail, right? Because we're visual beings. That's what's going to capture our attention from the very beginning. So when we see that thumbnail, we look at it to see what's the text on screen. Is it an attractive thumbnail? Is it something that's really creating intrigue and addressing what it is that I'm interested in and searching for? And if it is, then that's when they're going to look at the title, right? So, or if it's in video or on your phone, then they're looking below the thumbnail on a screen or computer screens off to the right. So the first thing they're going to do is scan the thumbnails. That's why your thumbnail is the number one important piece of your entire video. It's not what you're saying. It's not what B-roll you're using. It's not what transitions you're using or what your call to action is. It is your thumbnail. That's the piece that's going to be the first critical decision that your viewers make when it comes to whether or not they decide to watch your videos. So if your thumbnail is intriguing enough, they will say, okay, yeah, this is sounds interesting. Then they'll look at your title. That's the process, right? And if your title is addressing their pain point or what they're trying to, get an answer on or learn or be entertained by, then they'll click on the title, and then that's where the hook comes into play. So there's a structure and a flow into how your YouTube videos need to be created. And ultimately, your thumbnail should be your very first piece of the entire puzzle that's created. I mean, first you need to know your topic, because you can't design something if you don't know what it's about. But even before you come up with your title, your thumbnail, how you design it, the components that are in it, what text on screen, what visual components you're going to use, what face are you going to use? Are you the face of your brand? Is it someone else? Is it just another person? Those pieces need to have a lot of thought and consideration put into them, and kind of think of it from the perspective of if Mr. Beast is spending tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to have one person or a team of people create thumbnails. That is their sole responsibility, is to create thumbnails. He pays people that much money to create thumbnails. That puts the emphasis on how important it is to have those. So when you don't have your thumbnails and your titles in sync and they're not, really thought through, then it's going to play a huge part and impact on how well your videos are performing. So that's why it's really important to have those two pieces included. And those are the things that new YouTubers are typically going to, I don't want to say forget about, but don't put as much time and effort into, because as new YouTubers, and myself included when I got started, I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. I was thinking about, what are people going to say? What are people going to, leave in the comments? How am I going to sound? So there were all of these more or less self-limiting beliefs that I was focused on, not really the important things from an outsider perspective, and the reason why I'm showing up on YouTube to begin with. So that's why 98% of new YouTubers will fail to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, because they aren't really putting a lot of time and consideration and thought into the pieces that are really important from the very beginning, and building up their channels to that point where they're going to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. And if one of your goals is to monetize your YouTube videos, then of course you need to have those 4,000 public watch hours too. But you're not going to reach that if you're not getting the other component in place either. So those are the two things that are most critical. And if you aren't addressing those, then you will notice an impact on your videos. So hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. But those are the things that I wanted to include today. Today was day 4 of my 5-day going live on YouTube. I don't want to say it was a challenge. It was just something I wanted to do because there were those five things that I wanted to address for new YouTubers, where 98% of them failed to get to the 1,000 subscriber mark. And I wanted to make sure that I was addressing each one of those 5 things. So I wanted to put focus on each one over 5 days so that you have that information as well. If you're just getting started, let me know in the comments, just starting. If you're already an experienced YouTuber, let me know that as well. I would love to know who's joining and watching these videos. But I wanted to say thank you so much for joining. I'll go live again tomorrow on the 5th thing that contributes to 98% of first-time YouTubers failing to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification if you want to be notified when I go live or when I'm uploading new videos. I will have another video uploaded tonight, so be sure to watch for that. And hopefully you'll subscribe. And if you have questions, definitely let me know. All right, thanks for being here, and I will see you tomorrow.